Hey, what's up, guys? Man, I got this a while ago, but the art of Japanese monsters is basically the Japanese movie monsters, it's the kaiju, the posters, right? The international posters from all the different countries for these films, and also back in the day when they used to have, or at least they used to have like cool promotional things that you'd have in the theaters in America and Japan, everywhere. And lobby cards, right? Remember when I went over the Hammer book, they had lobby cards, the stuff that was given away for free, right? Like this, right? These lobby cards. Um, Now the how much these be worth if you went to like Chiller Theater or Monster Mania or any of those places, but the interesting thing going through this is the different styles of art and also some of the titles in the other language, particularly the German language. Of course, the Japanese posters are still the best. They're essentially photo collages. With of course the kanji look more cool to me, right? But their posters are mainly, like I said, collages. I mean, there's some artwork here. The Americans sometimes would either make their own artwork. Some of it was kind of cool too, but the Japanese I think was superior. Like this sort of style here, but you like this, right? Where you just have different collages of photos. Interesting thing looking here too. Of course, the American stuff is very like, oh, incredible, unstoppable, titan of terror, it's alive, the king of the monsters. Civilization crumbles as its death rays blast a city of 6 million. Okay. Shaking, screen shattering, awesome, and then some. Civilization totters, science astounded. So, see the American style, like raging through the world on a rampage of destruction. How American. But looking at apparently some of these films, in fact, a lot of these films were also shown in the Eastern Bloc nations, that is to say, the communist countries, Poland and Czechoslovakia, amongst others. And in those countries, the art takes a very modernist sort of non-threatening, just weird kind of. There's probably maybe some kind of law against showing these horrible things on the public street or something like that in those countries. But it's something I noticed throughout this. Right, here's the Czech one. Right, it's bizarre, very bizarre. So you see the different ways the countries have these promotional things going on. Right. And of course, I never saw this. I've seen bits and pieces of it. Luigi Cozzi, he re-released like a weird Godzilla, like almost like, right. It was almost like a documentary kind of like analog style to it. It's just bizarre. I believe he colorized it too. I have to look at it again, but the audacity of this guy. So I like some of his films, but anyway, I want to use the editing. I want to use my free Chinese editing app to do this, to make this a little different. I want to give all the secrets away to the People's Republic of China as I make my videos on dying and dead relics of a decadent country. So once again, this is the Japanese style. You see how cool it is, right? How epic it is, how Wagnerian it is, right? I don't know how many times. There's not a lot of. I don't think the French watch these movies. I think they were too good for these movies. But they had the bizarre artwork here, of course, in Spanish, right? The El Rey de los Monstruos, right? The King of the Monsters, right? In America, it was called Gigantus the Fire Monster because this wasn't supposed to be Godzilla, right? And great movie too. And this, of course, is the American art. Look, nothing like it ever before. The fantastic war of the giant fire monsters, born to destroy each other, but first they'll destroy the world. Right. So the American is very, like it's very like a carny, right? It's a carnival, right? Like a huckster or a sideshow kind of dude, Real quick. Warning from space from Dai Films. I saw this as a little kid on Channel 5, right? And WNYW in the morning. I was sick, right? When you're a kid, you're sick all the time. I swore that this was like I had a dream. Like this was I I thought this was just something I was dreaming, and it's not. It's an actual science fiction film. These are the aliens, but these aliens are nice aliens. They're good aliens. They're trying to save the Earth. But anyway, a little useless thing, a little useless nostalgia there for you. Yeah, and the king of all this is always the best. Godzilla vs King Kong. There's so many posters of this film. They really released this movie so many times. You know, like I said, look at all this stuff that's in here. It's like you want to see this movie. And it's like going to the other countries here. I mean, the Japanese in America, which makes sense. This is Japanese and an American monsters going at it. This is the American original poster. Pretty cool. And okay, let's just the German. Now we get to the weird German little things here. What is this? Die Rocker des King Kong. Like Rucker is like kind of. I think it's like a fight, like a ruckus, like a brawl. I could be wrong though. Arkham Reporter could probably help me with that. So, and Matango, another Lovecraftian film. Look at the weird. What is this? The Colombian poster. What a look at this poster. It is crazy. It has like nothing to do with the movie. Of course, the Italian poster makes everybody white. Oh, appropriation. But man, this movie is good. If you haven't seen this movie, you gotta see it. Okay, Atragon. I love this movie because the heroes are nationalist Japanese Navy guys. And of course, in the movie it's called the Gotenko, but for most of it was called Atragon. Okay, you see, they even had cool like a schematic for the Atragon. This thing could fly. This could drill through the earth. It could go underwater. This was an amazing weapon. But this is where it starts to get where I start to see the German titles are kind of interesting. You know, U-2000, right? Of course, the Germans always called the U-boats in both wars with the U, right? So the U-2000, right? Because it's like the year 2000. Tauchfahrt des Grauens, right? Which means literally like diving trip of terror. So U-200, 2000, diving trip of terror, right? Interesting. Okay, probably one of the best movies of all time, Godzilla vs. Mothra, or as in Germany, it was called Godzilla und die Urweltraupen, right? The Urwelt, right? The old world, the primordial world, caterpillar. So that was interesting. More accurate than The Thing, that's for sure. All right, one of my favorites. You know, I love this movie. Frankenstein Conquers the World, right? And the American art too for this is pretty cool. While not looking the same, and Nick Adams got the Tommy gun, but and of course the Japanese collage style is there. But now the title, here's where the German stuff starts to get nuts, right? Die Welt halt den Atem, and Frankenstein leaped, right? The world held its breath while Frankenstein lives. Frankenstein, right? Der Schrecken mit dem Affengeschick, which is to say the horror with the monkey face. It's a horror, I tell you. Bizarre. What the hell? What's wrong with the Germans with these crazy titles? It just goes on. Of course, another one of my absolute favorites, War the fucking Gargantuous. This movie is like, but in Germany, the movie actually has more of as Frankenstein, which makes sense. Right? These are a sequel to Frankenstein Conquers the World. Right? Frankenstein. Right? Zweikampf der Giganten, right? The double fight, which is to say a fight between two people, which is to say a duel, the duel of the giants. Okay, and again, the communist Polish poster, once again, very weird, very modernist, very not showing too much. All right, Gappa. Everyone forgets this film. I loved this movie as a kid. Gappa. It's kind of like Gorgo, except there's two parents that save the baby, and it has a happy ending, so I liked it. Gappa, or is the Polish poster where actually I guess these were cute enough, right? Because they're kind of cute. The baby's cute, and the parents are not that threatening looking, even though they kind of cause havoc, but only to get their baby back. So I guess the Poles, in the communist countries, they didn't have much to fear. So they don't want to scare the public with so these cute monsters they can show. Although in the Czechoslovakia, you had this thing sort of taking the piss out of the seriousness of it. But look at the German poster, yo. And what's it called in Germany? Gappa, Frankenstein's flying monster. So now the Germans just are gonna call all these giant Toho giant monster movies. They're gonna call them the Frankenstein movies. oh, King Kong escapes. Oh man, I went over that. I like the American poster too. Just great movie. They showed this movie probably more than any movie, like I said, on television. I go watch it again. Oh man, Destroy All Monsters. This was the final movie on Monster Week. My New Yorker people, Gen X people remember. This is the American art, right? The war cry that saves the world. Destroy all monsters, or as the Germans say, Frankenstein. The monster from outer space. Und die Monster aus dem All. Right? Oh, okay. Monster Zero again with Nick Adams and Kumi Mizuno. But in Germany, it was called Befehl aus dem Dunkel, right? Command from the dark, or the Dark Command. I think that's what that means. That's a bizarre name for this. And of course, Gamera vs. Brugge. This was my favorite Gamera film. This is the serious, kind of scary, violent as hell Gamera film. And of course, what do the Germans call the movie? They call the Gamera film Godzilla, right? Der Drache aus dem Dschungel, right? The dragon of the eastern jungle, or the far east jungle, or something like that. Good job, Deutschland. Oh, I'm gonna go over this. Imagine these films these are some totally different kind of feel movies, but we'll go over the actual movie at some point. Frankenstein's monster hunts Godzilla's son. Oh, and here's the Polish. What the fuck? Just real quick, Latitude Zero. Remember the cool submarine and that? Yeah, very underrated film. This is probably the last Toho movie I ever saw, and it was awesome. It was awesome. Just real quick, Minya. Come on, I was this kid, and if you watch this movie, I was this kid getting bullied, latchkey kid going home. Right, every boy needs a friend, even if it's a monster. Right, see Minya, the mini monster who blew smoke rings instead of fire. Gabra, the electric monster who shocked his foes to death, and the 8-year-old boy who became a monster's best friend. I'm starting to get like a little teary-eyed here, so let me stop. Godzilla vs. Megalon, the one that everyone makes fun of, which apparently was the biggest selling Godzilla movie back in the 70s. Look, they even not there anymore, but fucking Mecha Godzilla, man, and the two movies. Once again, Poland, what are you doing? And Germany, what's the name of Germany? Literally, they didn't care anymore. The Brut des Teufels, right? The Devil's Brood or something. That's a name. That's a name for the movie. I think the Germans probably thought these were kind of silly, so they were gonna give them silly names that didn't have any bearing on it. And that's it. I think you probably had enough of this. I mean, the Heisei films, right? The fight of the monsters, or the ruckus of the monsters, but you sort of get the drift. So, it's never coming back. Whatever. Don't be sad that it's gone. Smile because it existed.